Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we cover 3 or 4 cool, fun, interesting tech topics in the news and get you on your way in about 20 minutes. We try, guys. We really try. We try to get it done in that time frame. Jyesha, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Bob, and yourself?
I am really good. So you work out there at the Collier City Library.
I do, yes.
And I see. I'm happy you put in the literacy coordinator part there,
Yeah.
where we have our Creation Station music, where people come in and record and do stuff and all those
Correct.
sorts of things. What are you doing actually yourself there, out there?
I usually help with the youth. I also assist with literacy help, so people who are interested in learning ESOL, things like that. Like this month, I have a program going on to celebrate Women's Month. I'm holding a women's weaving craft. So teaching women and anyone who's willing to join next Monday from 3 p.m. to 4, teaching how
Nice.
to weave in the history of weaving amongst women. So
See,
I'm
this is the
excited about
Creation
that.
Station stuff, folks. We don't do
Exactly.
just technology. It's all
Right.
about history. Yeah, everything. It's a really, really cool thing.
Yes.
So I think your mic is a little low again there, but
Uh-oh.
just speak up. That's all. You'll be fine.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
A
yeah,
little
yeah,
closer to the mic. Yeah. There you go.
yeah. So let's bring in these stories here and tell you our fun story for the day is if you're one of those people who goes to sleep and then wakes up in the middle of the night, at least you got something to do tonight instead of grabbing your phone. That's something for my wife. She'll appreciate that if she ever listens to the show. Tonight, especially if you're on the East Coast of the United States, early in the morning, there will be a full blood moon lunar eclipse.
I'm
Do you
excited
know why they're
about it
called a blood moon?
because it looks bloody.
Yes, exactly. See, it's that simple. There you go. It's because in a solar eclipse is when the moon moves in front of the sun.
Correct.
This is a lunar eclipse. So what happens is the Earth is going to move in front of the moon, and the whole reason why we can see the moon is the sun is shining and bouncing the light off of there. And because of the atmosphere of the Earth and the light from the Earth going the sun's rays going around it and blocking all the various shadows and color your world is our theme for the summer this year. Come and learn all these cool facts about light refraction.
Okay.
It's going to make it look red. So the moon's going to disappear-ish and still be there with this kind of weird, cool blood effect. Now, as I said, you're going to be up in the morning, unless you're out there on the West Coast. If you're listening to us out on the West Coast, hopefully you're doing it live or you're going to get it before too late tonight. It'll be at 11:30 your time out there on the West Coast. Here on the East Coast, 2:26 in the morning. You planning on being up?
That is my goal. I'm excited about it. And if we don't
Good.
have the chance to catch it at the time, the space.com will be hosting it live and recording it. So if you
Yeah.
guys can't wake up, you can't stay up that late, maybe not, we can catch it later.
Yeah, that's a good catch. Yeah, space.com will get your recording for you. Depending upon what your cloud cover is, you can't see through the clouds. So South Florida this time of year, we tend to get a few clouds. So hopefully we'll be okay. It's not going to be a full overcast. We'll find out. It'll be okay. It'll be okay.
I'm excited. I've never caught the blood moon, so
Oh,
fingers crossed.
it's fun. It's really cool. It's really a lot of fun to do. I kind of am used to doing this in the dog when we used to have dogs. They'd be like, "What? We're going outside now?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Just relax." So the other thing in South Florida that's happening, that's important for us, is hurricanes. So they did a big, huge study in China about all of the hurricane tracks that have been happening, all the path of every storm that's crossed in the northern hemisphere. Now, they weren't just doing hurricanes, they did typhoons in the Pacific and everything like that. That's all goal of this was trying to figure out is climate change, how climate change is affecting things. Because we know it's real, we know it's happening. It's just how do you quantify it? How do you put this down in? How long have you lived down here?
nearly all my life, actually.
Oh, okay. So you're used to
25 years.
hurricanes.
Yeah,
Okay,
unfortunately.
so you're used to the hurricanes. Okay,
I'll
so
accept them over any other natural disasters, honestly.
yeah, I kind of like hurricanes over. Well,
Everything
I
else.
have this debate with a friend all the time.
What is
She
it?
likes earthquakes over hurricanes because earthquakes come and go and you're over and done with.
True.
And if you live in a modern building that's been designed, it's going to survive the earthquake and you're going to be fine.
True.
Whereas hurricanes, it doesn't matter how good of a thing you build, you might just get flooded out anyway.
Very, very true.
But I'm like, I'd rather know what's coming 4 days ahead of time than find out 30 seconds ahead of time.
Into it, right? It's like, wait
Yeah,
a minute
you
now. Now I got to clean up. Either way, you're going to have to clean up.
Yep. And so the results of this study are pretty clear and easy. Since 1979 till now, all the lines of all these hurricanes have gradually drifted south rather than north, which is an important thing because anecdotally, if you've noticed over the last couple of years, hurricanes have, in our popular minds for us down here in South Florida, have been like, oh, they're going north of us. They're hitting Tampa. They're hitting Orlando. They're hitting Daytona. It turns out that that's just a quirk in the data, that for the most part, they are actually going slowly but surely south. So we're going to see what happens over these next couple of years, if the last 2 or 3 years are a quirk in the data, or if that's a new trend line to add and move along.
Well, gotta be on the lookout for that.
I pay attention to hurricanes a lot because I work for the Emergency Operations Center also and do the calls.
Right,
So I kind of want to know ahead of time, hey, what's the likelihood of us getting these storms hitting down here in Broward? So it would be a good thing.
Absolutely.
And speaking of those studies, we do have another one. So tell me what you think about with this set of studies here on climate change.
With climate change, it's an up and up for me because it's like I feel like we're constantly getting thrown the issues of global warming. And I've noticed even myself because I've been complaining it's been so hot lately. I'm like, it's so hot. But it's like I don't know if it's a Florida thing or it's just genuinely like because like the temperatures are rising because of the global changes that's going on right now. So honestly,
and it is. And partially, it's not just that they go up, but they also go down. It's the
right.
extremes.
Even at the beginning of the year when the West Coast was on fire, the East Coast is frozen. Like that was so crazy.
This was one of the worst winters we've had in South Florida in a decade.
Like,
I mean, we set lots of records for how cold it got.
Yeah.
Normally, if you're out there in the rest of the world, out in Europe or Africa or wherever, and you're like, what are you talking about, Bob? It's never cold there. It got cold for us. Now, our cold is a radically different idea of cold than Boston or Minnesota,
Absolutely.
Wisconsin people up there. I get you. Don't worry. I feel sorry for you. Our version of cold is not negatives. It's 40s or 50s.
Yes.
But still, when our normal everyday temperature is upper 70s, 80, when it's half of that, it's a significant problem for us.
Right.
The reason this story is here, and by the way, as always, they're all in the show notes so that everybody can read and see all the stuff that's going on, and you can go out and go into this. This is a nice little article that talks a bit about what's going on with scientific studies tracking. The previous one was hurricanes. This one is temperature extremes going up and down and where that mean is in between the two of them. And part of it is who's going to fund this research going forward. Because under the current U.S. government changes, it looks like the U.S. is not going to be funding some of these studies, and it's going to fall to other countries like China, like the European Union, to do these studies and use this data for things. So it is definitely something to watch for over the next few months, because details that we thought were happening back in 2015 are turning out to be wrong, because we're getting better and better data now, and we're getting better refining of that data. And it's not looking so great.
The world we live in, yes.
We'll make it. We'll make it. I mean, we will
Absolutely.
adjust. It is way
Mhm.
too late to change or stop. We
Right.
have to adjust. We have to adapt. And that is what we're doing now, is we're
Yeah.
going to learn how to adapt and do these things.
Absolutely. And that's one of our greatest gifts as humans is that we're able to adjust. We've been through so much. That's why,
Yep.
like, even with everything politically, not to get into that, but just I don't worry about a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Because what can
it
you
is definitely
do?
a thing. Well, and part of it is, yeah, what can you do as an individual? What can we do as a collective government,
Hmm.
as a collective population, to make our small changes? Everybody makes a small change. It
Right.
becomes a big
Effects.
one.
Hmm.
So
It's a give and take in this world.
now we have a story about games. Do you play Pokemon Go on your phone?
I did not, but I definitely remember that era. I definitely when it was
Yeah.
such a big thing and people were going bananas over it. So, but I'm not a Pokemon girl. I love Pokemon though. He's cute.
Yeah. So I didn't play the game either, but we did talk about this years ago when it was a big thing, and
Right.
back in the early seasons of this show, we talked about it once or twice. The reason it's in the news now is Niantic, who, and we will link to our XR discussion from season 4. We had one of the Niantic engineers on the show, and we talked about what it's like
That
to
sounds
be a
interesting.
software engineer and work in this field and stuff.
Okay.
Niantic as a company is selling Pokemon Go, and they're effectively turning it into a gaming division and selling to another company.
I wonder what company that would be.
Yeah.
I thought it
So
was going
it's
to be NVIDIA.
no, not yeah. Some people thought it was going to be Nvidia
It's
because
not.
no, it's not. It is a company out there. You know what? Let's go grab the actual one. Okay.
Because I have some relations with NVIDIA, so I'm interested in anything they're doing.
Tell me. And so they are selling to Scaniverse. Well, that's the game that they make. And they're going to be able to combine all of this information together into one large gaming company that actually, between casual games and now bringing in the Pokemon Go stuff, takes up somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 million or more players and users.
Wow.
So it's a significant number of people using this, which is why it hit my radar for this.
I'm excited.
But the other part of why it hit my radar is Niantic is keeping the geospatial data, meaning all the stuff that you tracked on your phone as you were playing Pokemon Go. They're keeping it for themselves to sell and use for other augmented reality software, platforms, people. So they're turning themselves into, instead of a game company, they're going harder into their original engineering roots and saying, this is what we are. We collect data about people and we sell it to people. When you put it that way, it don't sound so good, does it?
Sounds very weird. Like, what do you want to do with this data? Why do you want to know about these people? What are you trying to convert it to?
And that one of the things that I feel safe about this is because, unlike a company like Meta, who is collecting data about you so they can sell you advertising and do these things, Niantic is keeping and using this data and selling access to it. They're not giving the data away. They're selling the access to other companies, including the ones that are currently working with, they are currently working with as part of Pokemon Go now, or will be working with. But it's not personalized to you. It's personalized to the location.
Right.
So if you've got a spot down the street that was a Pokemon gym and thousands of people were recording and doing all sorts of stuff around that area, they have a massive amount of spatial data about that. And now other companies can use that data for better tracking of your location, or to know more about that location and track it over time,
right?
and things like that.
Tourist based, like it's like they're trying to push where they can push more. Whereas the action is people more.
Yep.
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons it came up. And by the way, we have the official Niantic press release also in the show notes, so you can read their exact piece of what they're doing and how the stuff's happening with Niantic Spatial and stuff like that, and what they've publicly said. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting time in the next couple of years as the Ray-Ban Meta glasses become more popular, and those need that kind of spatial data and stuff. So it's gonna
hopefully with our creation stations, we're able to push that before it's a big thing. Because here at Kyer City, I'm not sure if you're aware, Greg has game night. We actually hosted one last night, which was phenomenal. So that would be great for us to introduce to the youth and others. We should be on that as well. So look forward to it.
And we do, and we've got the AR and the HoloLens
the main
and
library,
Magic Leap and all those things down here at Main Library. And I bring it around and do stuff. Remind me about that offline, and we'll get down there to bring those things and show off some of that kind of stuff for the kids next time.
I'm excited about it.
It'll be fun.
Okay, look forward.
So another quick story. Do you know what Lethologica is?
No, but I'm about to find out.
I was amused by this term because I knew what was happening, but I didn't know what the official real term was.
Okay.
So when you're looking at it's how you describe when you make up a word because you don't know what the real word is.
So it's like an analogy, would you say?
Not quite an analogy. It's more along the lines of when I say, "Hey, can you get me that thingamajig over there?" Can you I
the whatchamacallit.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. That's what those kinds of words are.
Oh, so that's what that's how you describe the undescribable.
Yes. Very nice way of putting it. I like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay.
And so they did a study of speech patterns for Alzheimer's patients. And in general, mental decline. Right. And because they originally thought, if you're losing your memory, if you're losing your power of speech and words, you're going to use more of those types of things. Can you get me this, that? Can you bring me the whatchamacallit? Because you can't remember with the word remote. Right. So, hey, can you go grab me the whatchamacallit? It turns out the researchers were wrong, which is why we do science. Because it's not the fact that you don't remember the word, because all of us do that all the time. It's that the speed at which you form your sentence to ask for the thing you have forgotten. So if you're just saying, "Hey, just give me the screwdriver, give the whatchamacallit," and you just put your hand out and you're talking and you hope that they give you the right screwdriver, that's normal. But if you're like, hey, I need the I need that whatchamacallit, that's a sign of cognitive decline.
Right.
And they can actually track that using the large language models and all the new current fangled algorithm technology stuff of feeding in your speech patterns to track and say, okay, well, if you're putting this much space, this much time in between words as you're trying to think how to say the word, that is the sign of decline, not the fact that you don't remember the word. It's the time that it takes you to either remember the word or to use a substitute word, the lethological thing, to use a substitute word for it. Which I was like, that's kind of a cool way of looking at this. And that's a very a quantitative way of testing, is like, you can just take a recording of your older relative and say, okay, well, here, and now do that same thing next year. And is their speech pattern slowing? Right. Is this possibly something we need to worry about and talk to the doctor? I've got so many hundreds of hours of stuff up here on the internet now. People are going to be able to tell whether I'm losing it right away.
I see they call it the tip of the tongue phenomenon too.
Yeah,
I think that's interesting.
I think. Wait. What's that word? What's that word? Yeah.
That was interesting.
So this is one of those really cool scientific studies that I like, but I do have one more scientific study that I don't like. I guess it's better to know than to not know.
Right.
But I kind of like dolphins. The dolphins in the ocean too. Everybody knows I like the dolphins.
Oh, not those dolphins.
Not those
God.
dolphins. No,
Oh, Lord.
we're not in danger for those dolphins either. But so we have a phenomenon called a red tide in Florida, particularly along the west coast of Florida in the Gulf of Mexico, that no one knows exactly where it comes from. We can't prove that this is a global warming thing. It's happening. We don't know if it's chemicals in the water from fertilizer being washed into it or stuff like that, but it's causing red tide to happen more frequently and longer. And when animals have to swim through that, they are becoming infected, I guess is the best word, which is triggering something else, which is microplastics in their diet. So dolphins are consuming fish, which the fish have consumed other things. And because we have ruined the planet so much, there's microplastics everywhere.
Aren't we great?
And because of the red tide, how it affects dolphins, it's having their bodies keep more of these microplastics in their system for longer instead of it coming and flushing through their system, and it's giving a toxic buildup. And now they're getting these problems of the phthalate concentrations are building up in the dolphins that are in the Gulf of Mexico, which is causing population decline, which is just not a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not the happiest ending, I know. And this is where we need to do our studies, and we need to figure out our way of stopping the things from getting plastic into the ocean, which we all want to stop because we don't want microplastics in our own food. Mm-hmm. And doing the studies to find out what's causing these red tides and why is it getting worse and what's actually causing it, so we know what we can do to fix it. Sorry. We should have done the speech one last. That would have been a more fun story to end on, wouldn't it?
Or the blood moon, maybe.
Yeah, blood moons. Remember the blood moon, everybody.
Yes, please.
Go out tonight.
Space.com.
Yep, space.com, or go out tonight and look at 2:00 in the morning, my time. It's earlier if you're the farther west you are than us, and you'll come and see it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. You guys have a great time. Oh, hey, I don't even have the final slide. I'm just sitting here talking. We don't even have the correct slide. If there is a story you want us to cover, and find us a fun one and email it to us so we can use it next week. creationstation@broward.org. And we'll see everybody next week.
Oh, I want to share one more thing before
Tell me.
So, ARLIC, also known as the African American Library, is celebrating Harlem Renaissance this month.
This Friday, Saturday, they got an event going on.
Yes, I'm so excited. They're having an event tomorrow evening to go back in time and celebrate the 1920s. So if you're in the area, they're selling tickets on Eventbrite. Tonight is kind of the last day. Maybe tomorrow they'll have tickets tomorrow. So get those.
Yep, you got to come. If you're in South Florida, it's one of those cool events to be at.
It's really nice. Bye-bye.
We'll see everybody next week. Bye.
Bye.